Like, I come from a very dysfunctional family, alcoholic father. Addiction kind of touched probably everybody in the family in one form or another. I was very young, 6 years of age. The marriage, parents' marriage broke up. So at the beginning of that, it kind of made me feel very different. Like I didn't know anybody at that time whose family had kind of been going through that, so I felt kind of very isolated in a lot of ways. And then that kind of self-esteem and stuff like that kind of took a hit as a result of that. So growing up then, I kind of never really I had a lot of groups of acquaintances, but never had any real sort of friends. I found it difficult to kind of relate to people. And then when I hit me teenage years, then I found drugs, and it was kind of like, it wasn't really escape as such. It was kind of like it started recreationally, but it kind of developed from there. Yeah, it was kind of as time went on then that I started to realise, I knew I kind of had a problem with it, and like I was being told, but it was kind of like, it gotten into that habit stage then that I felt that I couldn't function. Psychologically, the mind had said, like, if you stop this now, you're not going to be able to function in life or be able to deal with people. Like, I was very kind of withdrawn. In a group of people, I would sit back and be very quiet, and then be kind of saying, oh, he's the strong, silent type, and I wasn't. I was just full of fear. Didn't want people to think I would, like, make a fool of myself. I was very kind of aware of that. And then as things progressed, it just got worse. And I always say, I don't, addiction for me, my addiction was escapism. It didn't matter. Just drugs were the easiest and most accessible way to do it, but it could have been anything. It was just, that was the first thing. And because of the drugs, I was kind of not anti-alcohol, but I was always kind of aware of the fact that there's a chance I could become an alcoholic. But I was taking drugs, like, so, it was kind of, and that was kind of a thing that I learned in recovery as well, that there's really no difference around substances. It's just, but also when I came into recovery, I kind of, I'd said to myself, I'll get a few months into this and I'll be able to drink again. And then I looked back and I said, I actually, like, binge drank, you know what I mean? So the potential to be an alcoholic was there. But drugs was the first thing I kind of found. And then I kind of felt that going from a group of people doing drugs recreationally, then I started to isolate, and then I started to kind of be on my own, and I preferred to kind of be on my own. And then kind of like the prison of the mind then, you know what I mean, trapped in kind of the negative thinking and like not wanting to leave the house, because you're kind of putting yourself out there. And things like jobs and stuff like that, I mean, I would have applied for a job interview and I could talk myself out of it, like, very, very quickly. Because of my self-esteem issues, tell myself, oh, you're not going to get this, why are you trying, you're wasting your time, sort of thing. And that kind of went across the board, even with relationships and stuff like that. So then it kind of came to the point, it was a space of about 5 days, like a lot of stuff had happened. Long-term relationship ended. I was looking at being made homeless. Mother was very sick. There was a lot of conflict in the family as well. So it all just came to a head. And then kind of the ultimate escape was considered suicide. Luckily I was given the number for San Calpe, and I came in, and that's where they started the journey of recovery. Didn't think it was going to work for me, but I did it. Everything that was put in my path I did, because I just didn't want to feel the way I did. When I stopped taking drugs, it's just an overwhelming wave of emotions and thoughts and stuff like that, and the mind running 100 miles an hour, and I just wanted that respite away from that. Didn't think it was going to work for me, but I just kept doing it in the hope, because I'd done this for so many years, so I needed to change, needed to do something different, and this was it. And looking back on that, like the journey, it's just been amazing. Like, it really has. And for a lot of time, I wouldn't be giving myself credit. I just, whatever I was doing, I had to do it. But it's kind of, I started to kind of reflect back then and saying, like, you know, what a journey it has been so far, you know. And I love my new life. I never really had a life. I existed while I took drugs, but I love my new life now. And as a result, it was one of the facilitators here actually said it to me, that you've come full circle, because now, like, I'm working in a residential treatment centre. So from coming from, like, someone who was suffering from addiction, and now helping people who are beginning their journeys, like, it has been an amazing journey. I really, really enjoy it. And every day is just like, it's a learning day for me, you know, and I love it, because I don't know what way each day is going to go. From when I was in addiction, it's like you kind of know what way you're going to go. You get up, take drugs, you find ways and means with, you know, for getting money or whatever, and spend the whole day taking drugs, and then same thing day in, day out. But like now, I don't know what's going to happen from when I get up in the morning till I go to bed, and that's a wonderful thing. I really enjoyed that. But it was very, because like I said, I didn't know if it was going to work for me, you know. And I think it's kind of very common theme with people in addiction, is that, you know, you see other people doing it and go, that's great, but it's not going to work for me, because, like, I'm the most unluckiest person in the world. That's how I was thinking, like. But when I got to the stage where the mind slowed down, the kind of emotions kind of were slightly regulated. But it's an ongoing thing. It's like, it's not just because I'm 2 years clean, that doesn't mean anything. I continually have to work on maintaining my recovery. So yeah, in the very beginning it was difficult. It was very difficult, but having that support, having people who understood addiction, and to be able to go to someone and say, I have this insane thought, and for them to kind of smile and go, that's okay, I've had that thought too. You know what I mean? So having that support was amazing. You do see people that are suffering, and just for them to know that, like, yeah, not to be forced. You can't force anybody into recovery. I know this from my own experience, because, like, you know, people have been saying it to me for a long time. It's not until you know yourself. But for those people, just to know that when they're ready, you know, when their time is there, that there is people there that can help them. There is so many supports that can help them through, which is a very difficult point. Like I said, early recovery, it was so difficult for me, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, you know, and for them to just know that, you know, that when you're ready, there is that support's there, and you can succeed.